What, in the last 2 years, Jesse Trinidad, lawyer, sued and got all this info because they tortured his brother to death. And the feds bombed Oklahoma City. And I have a film, 9/11, The Road to Tyranny. 35 minutes of the 2.5-hour film covers that in detail. You want all the proof of it. And I saw the preconditioning before 95. I was already awake in about 93, but I wasn't on air until late 95. I was watching Access Television when locals were playing the newscast from Oklahoma City with them removing the bombs, the building blown out, General Parton, the grand jurors saying there's a cover-up, Hoppy Heidelberg being threatened by the FBI with guns at his door if he didn't shut up. I was seeing all this on Austin Access because people were sending it from Oklahoma and airing it, and I said, that's it, I got to get on Access TV. But the point is that I have been studying this, and you're an out-of-control federal government that's robbed trillions of dollars. The public's waking up to you. The states are saying no on government takeover of health care, on climate taxes, on federalization of schools, of federalization of police, law enforcement. What do? You infiltrate militias, people that are scared of the government, that are concerned, that are studied history, that are training to defend themselves. You radicalize them. You get them to talk about violence, or you just flat out set them up. And hundreds of people have had pipe bombs buried. That's come out in federal court and been set up. Or it's guys at a bar, or the BATF took over the Viper motorcycle gang, a horrible meth dealers, and got them to say we're a militia now, and so they could have the term Viper militia on the news. And every time they start hyping, because I mean they've always got hundreds of idiots that have called for violence so they could bust anytime they want it. And I said they've got all their people marked that they're going to set up, people they've sold guns to, sawed-off shotguns, whatever the case is. Before they start trying to push a domestic purge operation that's meant for the general public, they're going to pick out groups to set the precedent, like Ruby Ridge and then Waco, and then Oklahoma City. So I see all this hype from Republicans, Democrats, Fox, CNN, MSNBC. The Tea Partiers have radicals in them. The 9/11 truthers and the birthers with his birth certificate, they're going to get violent. And then Joe Stack happened, clearly staged. The Pentagon shooting, totally staged. The underwear bombing, totally staged. And we've done whole shows on those. They're archived at prisonplanet.tv if you're a new listener. You know, the FBI and State Department being ordered to let the underwear bomber on, protecting him, getting him on. For a month, they said Kurt Haskell and other witnesses were lying on the plane. Then it was admitted to be true. I mean, I can go over the evidence, but we'll run out of time here. Top Homeland Security official in remote control aircraft. Joe Stack involved with Black Ops, controlling the tiny hangar that held 5 aircraft in it. Witnesses saying that the emergency crews were already on site before the IRS kamikaze attack. Multiple witnesses who were later proven to be right about the emergency crews already being there. Later they had to admit, the biggest drill ever in town in the parking lot next to it the hour before, and they were there when it happened. The FBI out there as the attack happened. Witnesses all saying that, multiple witnesses, that no one was in the plane. Again, if I went over all the evidence, the guy on psychotropic drugs, tied in with Homeland Security and patents, disappears for 2 months at the Pentagon, got his gun out of the same Tennessee police lockup that the guy that shot up the federal courthouse got his gun from. That's Associated Press. On and on and on. I mean, I could spend 3 hours, 4 hours on one of these subjects, and we have. I'm digressing here. What I'm trying to say is this. I saw the massive hype. I know that everything they're doing is unconstitutional and politically unpopular. They want to spin it around with violence. They want to hype violence to get weak-minded copycats to go throw bricks through windows or shoot into a congressman's office. Then they hype that up. Some real nuts may then do it. That's why the congressman that got his office shot at in Virginia came out and said, please stop hyping this. You know, in real terrorism, you're not supposed to hype it. That's why when they have fake terror, they always hype it. There's been a lot of real terror attacks in the world, by the way, in my research, that they never talk about. See, there have been some real terror attacks. But then, if they're real, they don't talk about them. You understand that? That's a rule that they have in actual government handbooks, that don't hype terror because that feeds into what they want. Well, then why are they hyping it? Because when they are the terrorists, they hype it. So I've been clear on this, and we've had provocateurs trying to set us up, trying to do it in the message boards, calling here, following us around, going to events, asking us if we want to be violent. And if you're ever just halfway not paying attention and go, oh, yeah, sure, boom, you'll be arrested. It'll all be, It'll be all over the news, you're a terrorist. So this is how they demonize any political opposition, is by staging attacks. And it's government's favorite thing to do. Give me a document cam shot, please, boys. Thank you. Here is a story here out of AOL News. Suspected militiamen charged with plotting to kill officers. So now it's suspected militiamen, like just being a suspect of being someone armed, like civil defense saying he'll protect your community. And supposedly they thought it was the end times. They're mad at all the Muslims moving in to Michigan. On and on and on. And they raided a bunch of their houses. Here's another one. Indictment. Militia members sought to levy war against U.S. And remember, Muslim group of teens were supposed to wage war in Toronto. Turned out a provocateur was leading them and mailed them ammonium nitrate they didn't even ask for. Remember in 2006 in Miami, they went and found, 11, and 6 of them were registered with the city on welfare as mentally retarded, street kids who were Rastafarian pothead Christians, and gave them hundreds of thousands of dollars over a 1.5 year period to just talk about violence, to agree to wear military fatigues, to videotape the FBI building in Miami. And there was a case last week, and it was a headline in the New York Post, that government led the Muslim group, set it up. 1993, the FBI cooked the bomb, trained the driver, and then told Ahmad Salam, the guy they hired from Egypt, a CIA asset, to go ahead and go and have the bombing. He knew they were setting him up and recorded the FBI top-level people in 8 hours of tapes saying, yeah, we're going to let the bombing go ahead. And he says, well, wait a minute. Are you trying to set me up for this? First, it was going to be a dummy bomb. Then you said it had to be a real bomb for court. Now you're saying let it go forward. I've got receipts. I've got witnesses. You're not going to frame me for this. Jason Bermas's new film, they just released these tapes last year. They've been in the New York Times in '93 and CBS News that this happened. Now we have the tapes. They've been declassified. And we're going to, he just plays a few clips of it in the film. The point is that there are mentally ill people. I mean, if I wanted to, I'm not saying they'll take it out of context. I'm not saying I would do this. Hypothetically, you or anybody else could go to downtown Austin or downtown Chicago or downtown San Francisco, wherever you got a bunch of homeless people. We got a lot of them here in Austin. I could find a drunken schizophrenic who believes they're Jesus, or a man dressed as a woman, or whatever I wanted to do. And if I offered them $100,000, they'd dress up in military fatigues and sit in front of a camera and say they were going to blow things up. And that's all they do. I mean, in every case, these are schizophrenics, mentally ill people, mentally retarded people. Bum Steer Award, first place. It's an attack they do every year in Texas Monthly. 1998, the Ku Klux Klan. There was no Ku Klux Klan forum defined. In Fort Worth, they went and found a trailer park of complete alcoholics on welfare who didn't work. For over 2 years, they tried to get them to build bombs. The FBI guy would get black powder and say, I'll give you another $10,000 for liquor if you'll light it on camera for me in the backyard. They're like, we're going to take over America. We're going to get, and it came out. It was, folks, literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases of this. And so this is what they do over and over and over again. They'll go get meth heads in Colorado, remember in 2008, and tell them, I'll sell you all this meth, but here, use some cocaine and drink a bunch of whiskey. We ought to take over. Yeah, I don't like the government. Yeah, we ought to go after Obama when he's here in town. Boom. On the news. I mean, it's always the same MO. You can go to any dive bar packed full of drunks on a Saturday night and find somebody to shoot their mouth off. But the point is, here's the key. They're bringing all this out now, raids in 4, some are saying 5 states, busting people, trying to pin any Tea Party violence on conservatives, on militias. Look at the MIAC report, Homeland Security report that police gave us last year. Their main focus is you, the Americans that know what's going on. And you went along with this Homeland Security grid because, oh, that's for them Muslims with turbans on their head. Glass parking lot them, torture them, get them. We don't need any Bill of Rights or Constitution. We don't need any of that around here. What are you saying? You want terrorists to have rights, boy? Now they've got all this legislation. They've passed much of it saying they can arrest citizens for no reason and use enhanced interrogation, and you're never seen again. I had Napolitano on, Judge Napolitano, covering it last Friday. It's not just Alex Jones saying it and reading the bill. He said it's the most draconian thing ever seen. Even the Nazis didn't do this stuff on paper. They just did it secretly. It's all for you. Don't you get it? It's all for you. Don't you